Thanks for joining us again today. Well, today it is Friday, and many look forward to Friday. It's July the 10th, so it's the end of a work week for many of you. And then, of course, you've got Saturday and Sunday to look forward to. So hopefully your week has gone well, and hopefully your Friday is going to go well also. Well, we started a little series on Monday called Country Charm, and we tried to take some elements that I experienced as a kid growing up in the country and tried to weave them into some Bible truths that kind of would match some experiences that I had, at least, give some kind of connection there. So we're going to end that today, and we're just going to read one passage here today from Matthew chapter 23. So if it is your custom to find the Bible and find the passage, we'll be in Matthew 23 and verse number 37. So I'll go ahead and read the passage here, and then we'll just kind of give a connection to my past, and then we'll also look at the truth here. Matthew 23:37 says this, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets, and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together, now notice this, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. This is kind of a sad commentary here, but he gives a natural illustration that all country people are familiar with. I mean, everybody's familiar with hens and chickens, but if you grew up around them and saw them, then you definitely can relate, especially to where he's talking about a hen who has her little chicks or her biddies with her, and how, especially during the daytime, she's pecking around and they're kind of following her around and kind of mimicking her. And then, of course, if they need the protection from the mama, the hen there, then they would get underneath her. And how many times you maybe seen a hen on the ground and she looks like she's there, and if you already know this ahead of time, and those little chicks are underneath her, and so that's a beautiful picture. And Jesus was saying here that when he looked at Jerusalem, here he is at this point in the scriptures. It's not long before Jesus would be betrayed, and he's going to be crucified, of course. That in the official sense, Jesus was rejected by his own people. Jerusalem, his own city, in the natural sense, in the human sense. And he says, you know what, your reputation, Jerusalem, is that, I sent prophets to you, and prophets came out of you. And he says the overall demeanor and the overall description of Jerusalem in that sense is that you killed the prophets and you stoned them that were sent unto you. How sad that is. And he says, I've come here. And he says, how often would I have gathered your children, Jerusalem, even as a hen gathers her chickens under her wings, and you wouldn't do that. So, this is an illustration of how, the Lord's saying, look, in the sense of people who are not saved, how many times has God tried to plead, and the Lord's pleaded with people to say, come, let me take care of you, become a child of God, and trust me, and my care would be the best care you've ever received, and yet people push back on that. And then also as children of God, I mean, how often do we, as children of God, we get into situations, and sometimes the last place we go is in prayer to the Lord, and we try to fix things, and we worry over things, and we stress, and the Lord's saying, look, I put into a hen, if you look at chickens, and as I think back, chickens aren't really the smartest animals. They're kind of even considered not very smart. They can have a little old structure in front of them, and they sometimes can't figure out how to get around it. And we laugh sometimes. They'll sit there and they'll dart at it. And finally, you say, man, if you just kind of move a foot or two the other way, you can kind of get around it. And so we don't think of chickens as being very bright, but God put into the nature of that mother hen that when she had them little biddies, that she should take care of them. And how many times have you seen, and I've seen this, you look at chickens, and they're out there on the on the farm areas, and they're just scratching around, the mother's scratching, and them little old biddies are kind of mimicking her, and then if something comes up and she needs to protect them, they all run underneath her, and they just kind of hide underneath their mother. And the Lord's saying, that's how I want to take care of you, Jerusalem, but you push back on that. And we don't want to be guilty of being children of God and saying, Lord, when I need you, I'll I'll call upon you. We need to stay close like them little biddies did. They stayed close to their little mama hen, and that mama hen there was to protect them. And growing up, I remember my grandfather. He had chickens. In fact, most farms are, if they don't have anything, they'll have chickens. And people like to raise chickens, and of course they like to eat the eggs. And at this present time, my father-in-law and mother-in-law, they, in the past 2 or 3 months, they got them some little biddies, and they raised them, had them in the house, had to keep them under constant heat for a while, and gradually wean them off of that. I think it was about 95 degrees, whatever it was, and they're in those little containers, and now they're out in their little chicken coop, enjoying the outside and marching up their little ramp there to get inside when they need to go roost. And they're well taken care of, nice little fenced in area. But these chickens, and my grandfather had bantams for a while, and we would find out someone would have a particular breed of bantam, and different colors and all that. I know even sometimes even the combs that they have, the single comb and the rose comb and the pea comb, and sometimes you just try to get a little different variety just to have, a different look and all of that. And all that to say, chickens aren't the smartest animals, of course, and but it's amazing how in nature God has put into nature things that they just don't violate. They do it because it's an instinct of God, and yet God gives us instincts, and sadly man likes to oftentimes sadly go against even the very nature of God, and we see that, and that's just not a good thing. So I guess just to remind us is that, especially as a child of God, is that God made us, and if we are His children and He's our Heavenly Father, then it's only natural to let the Father, have command and have the leadership, and we allow Him to take care of us. And He says that repeatedly in the Bible, but sometimes we push back on that, and we kind of get outside where we need to be at, and then we get in trouble, and then we come running back. And I know God's going to be there for us, but wouldn't it be great if we could just say, you know what, we're going to be like them little chicks, and we're going to stay close to the mama, the little hen, and she's going to take care of us, and that's a good thing. And God put that in her, and He also put it in them to cling to her like that. So let's do the same. Let's be reminded that as people of God, that we've got one who's going to take care of us. He is our Heavenly Father. He wants to take care of us. He delights in that, and we're so much better off if we let Him do it and not try to flex our muscles, so to speak. Flap our wings like we're too big. So hope you've enjoyed these illustrations from the country, and many of you say, I look back on it, think back on it as good times, and we've got good times now. We just have to make the best of it and go forward. But at any rate, thank the Lord that He will take care of us. I hope you have a great Saturday and Sunday. Hope you stay healthy and safe. Until Monday, have a great day.